feeding your dog the raw diet that's in the pet stores, the frozen raw diet, it's not so good. It isn't. It's a little bit better than kibble-based diet or canned food, but it's not much better. The prepared raw diets that you buy in the pet store, Stella and Chewy's, those brands, the frozen raw diets, that's not really raw diet. I have in the past trying to get an owner to accept the idea of feeding their dog a raw diet. I have suggested doing Stella and Chewy's or some other like brand that they could get, just to sort of get them used to the whole thought process. Because for 100 years, this kibble-based diet has been drummed into society that that's what you're supposed to feed your dog. And now we see the FDA coming out saying, hey, this causes problems. Not all raw is the same. It isn't. I've had my dogs off of a kibble-based diet for years. They're much healthier. It's a pandemic among our animals. It's caused a pandemic. If you look at the lifespan of a wolf, in the wild, there's conflicting studies done. Some say up to 13 years, but generally speaking, 6 to 8 years. And for an animal that lives in the wild, that's pretty long. It's a large animal too. You're talking no health care. Now, a wolf in captivity can live up to 17 years, and the wolf in captivity is fed a raw diet. So keep that in mind too, that there's contributing factors to animals that live in the wild. No shots, no nothing like that. They don't get, if they get parvo or distemper, they're gonna die. So 6 to 8 years, but 17 in captivity. Now, if you know this, if you're looking at these large breed dogs, like say a Saint Bernard or a Great Dane, any of those, they don't live long at all. They do terrible. They have the lifespan of about a wolf in the wild, and they're living in captivity because they are being fed pet food. Now my point being this, is that if you are feeding these prepared raw diets, it isn't much better than a dry kibble-based food because it has so much fiber into it. What the companies are doing, they're selling you this stuff to make money. And to make money, to make it more cost-effective for them, they put stuff in it that is not appropriate for the dog, that the dog can't even digest. If you look at Stella and Chewy's, it has pumpkin seeds in it. Dogs shouldn't be eating seeds. It has all kinds of stuff in it. Now, your dog does need some fiber. A dog like this is about the size of a fennec fox. How many small rodents, like a mouse, would a fennec fox get a day? One? Probably eat a mouse a day if it was lucky. Maybe one day it would catch two, and then it might not eat for 2 or 3 days. That's how canids, that's how they are. They don't have to eat like us 3 times a day. Those are just the facts. I'm just telling you the facts. So if your dog skips a meal, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not saying that your dog should go up to 2 weeks, because that's what a wolf might do. Might go up to 2 weeks without making a kill. That's a long time. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying that subspecies of the wolf right here. So if you think about like a small wolf, or like let's say a fennec fox, which is a canid, they would eat one mouse. How much would be stomach contents would be in that mouse that the small canid would ingest? Very little. A very tiny amount. And those stomach contents, keep in mind that they have been pre-digested in the prey animal's stomach. So your dog could, or the wild dog could, utilize some of that stuff because it's already been pre-digested, because the dog, or a bunny, whatever, a dog can't digest plant material. They don't. If they eat grass, either they throw it up or they poop it out, but it's gonna look the same. So don't think that your dog's eating vegetables. Your dog doesn't need vegetables. That's not what it's about. And if you are giving plant material to your dog, it should be cooked either in vinegar or steamed. You can use canned. Canned works great because it's already pre-cooked, so your dog can digest it. So if you give the dog spinach from a can, that's good. But if you're giving raw spinach, that's not good. That would not be raw diet. Now these prepared raw diets, they really aren't very good. If you look at them, they'll have some stuff that's good in them. There'll be right at the front of it, it might say beef, beef tripe, stuff like that. But then all of a sudden, they start putting in all the filler. And all the filler is plant material. And that's the stuff that is not good for your dog. All that stuff that's in grain-free food that the FDA just came out and said this is like so unhealthy for your dog. You know, it's giving dogs cardiomyopathy for one, and you don't see heart disease in wolves. Why? Because they're not eating that kind of garbage. They're not eating, you know, this kibble-based, it's sort of like Doritos. It's like formed into a little shape. They cook all the vitamins and everything that's good out of it, and then they have to put that back into the kibble food. This goes for your cat too. And your cat should not be eating corn. Look at your bag of cat food. But they put the vitamins and all that back into the cooked product that they have, the little kibble. It doesn't make any sense. That is why I have tried to get people, okay, let's see if they'll do Stella and Chewy's. Every time I have done that, the owner ends up just using a raw chicken-based diet. I'm judgmental. I'm like, oh, how can the suburban housewife, you know, is she gonna, no problem, she loves her dog. She loves her dog, so she gives the dog a proper diet. Now, fiber seems to be an issue for people. Like last night, I gave her one blueberry. One. That was it. Sometimes I feed her, maybe I don't give her any fiber. Sometimes I give her like one green bean or a half a green bean. Or just a smidgen of spinach. But you keep it into the context of like, if it was going to eat a prey animal, how much stomach contents would be in that prey animal? This dog's the size of a fennec fox. It'd be like how much plant material would be in a mouse. Not a lot. Not a lot. Do your raw diets from the pet store, the frozen raw diets. They're better than a dry kibble, and that's another reason why I've suggested those in the past, because it has benefits as far as like behavior goes. One, if you're trying to housebreak your dog, you certainly, if you're giving it dry dog food, it's a big mistake. You got a puppy and you're giving it dry dog food, it eats the kibble and then it drinks a lot of water, too much water. It's like eating crackers. And then the water goes in, the dry pet food, the kibble, expands in the dog's stomach and pushes everything out. The dog, they can't hold it. And they've drank too much water, so it's expanding, it's pushing on the dog's bladder, it pushes out of the dog. It's nonsense. Every dog that comes here, whatever the age is, they go on raw when they're with me. I won't give kibble-based food. I actually got rid of a client some years back. I loved the dog. The dog was great. But the owner just kept she would board the dog with me and kept sending the dog over with this dry dog food. And I'm like, the dog's overly thirsty. It's just a pain in the ass. I just didn't want to deal with it. If you're not going to listen to the dog trainer, don't use the dog trainer. Find another one that you want to listen to. Sit. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, dude. Sit. That's a fact. But it's better than dry, but not by much. When I'm training a young puppy, I'll buy Abity because it has a low fiber profile. I do that for a couple weeks when I'm losing sleep, just to make it easy. And then I start smashing the chicken, or you can grind the chicken. If you don't want to feed whole bone-in chicken, you have the option of buying a grinder and grinding your own chicken. It has to have bones in it. You can grind it, and then that way it could be in a little bowl, and you're not giving the dog a chicken leg. It's not going to be able to take it anywhere. That's the thing about, like, if you give bone-in chicken, which is great because dogs expend a lot of energy eating that. I give it to dogs frozen. I give it to them frozen, and then they spend, like, 40 minutes expending energy eating in a natural way. But if you don't want to do that, if it's too much of a hassle for you, you can grind it. You're going to save money, first of all. It's going to be cheaper. Chicken is 65 cents a pound at Walmart, and most stores you can buy leg quarters like that. Now, I don't want to hear anybody underneath this say, yeah, but it has antibiotics, and no, it doesn't. It isn't given any antibiotics. There's regulations for that anyway. If they would do that, then they can't slaughter the chicken for a certain amount of time, but none of that's done because chickens are hatched, they're fed for about 2 months, and then they're slaughtered. They don't have to go on antibiotics. They're not sitting around in a cage. Well, they are for about 2 months. Or maybe it's a big open area like they do with turkeys. I'm not really sure how Tyson's doing it nowadays, but that's not a reason, and salmonella is not a reason, because the birds, the eggs, before they're hatched, are inoculated. So they're not going to get salmonella. If they got salmonella, the chickens are kept in, like, big sheds with 300,000 chickens. If one chicken gets salmonella, they all have to go, so that they lose millions of dollars. Just stop making excuses. Stop buying this prepared pet food. It's not that hard. You buy your chicken when you go buy your food. Yes, you have to give them other things. I'm not going into this in this video. I have videos, and by the way, I have some videos that I made with the intention of, I want to get people to do this. I want to get people to use the raw diet. And some of my videos, I'm putting more fiber in it generally than I normally would. Like, I will use oats. I will use a small amount of oats, and I'm saying it when I'm sprinkling it on the, maybe this is a little too much, something like that. I'm wording it like that. They don't need a lot, but it's been drilled into the pet owner that your animal needs, your pet and your cat needs vegetables, and they need so little. It's such a minuscule part of the animal's diet, both of them. It's a tiny, tiny portion. I had somebody writing underneath a video just last week, the dog is omnivorous. No, it's not. It's not. The point is that they can eat a lot of things and not die instantly. Some stuff will make them sick, and they could die instantly. There's things that your dog should not eat that humans can eat. That's true. But they can also eat other things that we eat, and it won't kill them instantly, but over time it gives them poor health, and their life expectancy certainly isn't 17 years like a wolf and a domesticated wolf. I don't really know if that's domesticated. I guess if you're talking about a wolf hybrid, that would constitute domestication. And if you were taking wolves and you were selectively breeding them because one wolf had a real good temperament around people and the other wolf had a real good temperament around people, the offspring would be domesticated because selective breeding had taken place. There is nothing that says that it has to takes place over time. That is not an indication of a long period or a short period. It's time. There was time taken to decide, this is a nice wolf, this is a nice wolf, let's breed them. That's domestication. There's wolves being studied in Austria. If you want to hear anything about dog behavior, I would not suggest that you listen to any positive reinforcement trainers. That is just a waste. It's a waste of time. They take a they do a bastardization of operant conditioning, which is about both the positive and the negative and the alleviation of both. And they just talk about the positive portion as it's science. It's not science. If you want to know more about dogs, I suggest that you check out the dogs that are the wolves that are being studied in Austria. That's more indicative of what a domestic dog is. It's a subspecies of the wolf. So if you look at the wolves that are being studied in Austria, you're pretty much seeing the domestic dog, except the wolves in some cases seem a lot faster as far as like learning goes. This notion that the wolf is the deadly creature is absurd. I've known some wolves in my life, and they are all seemed like dogs to me. They acted like dogs. I don't think anybody should go out and get a wolf or a wolf hybrid. You don't know what you're getting, and it's a large dog. There's this thing about this mythology that people want these certain animals that, like a raven, but they don't really understand the raven. They just like the myth of the raven, so they want it, and then they don't know what they're getting into. The wolf hybrids would be the same way. Could I own a wolf hybrid? Yeah, I could. I could deal with it. Do I really want a wolf hybrid? No, not really. I'd like a smaller dog. But I don't really see them as too much different physiologically and behaviorally. There's just as many there's so many poorly bred dogs. Poorly bred dogs that absolutely no selective breeding was taken into consideration. It's absurd to even consider them domestic, but they're domestic. It's like they bred two dogs and it's essentially a feral dogs in backyards, stuff like that. Are those tameable? Sure. All dogs can be dealt with, but you have to deal with them properly. And if you're not going to feed them properly, your dog is going to have shitty health. 17 years, a 120-pound wolf can live. 17 years. It's outrageous that a wolf in captivity that is fed a raw diet can live up to 17 years. But how often do we hear about a large breed dog living 17 years? Never. It's diet related. I have a 20-year-old in there, a Chihuahua. Mango is about 7 pounds. He's almost double her size. He's 20 pounds. Now, Mango was on pet food when I got him, and he'd been through several owners. The last owner he had was my ex-girlfriend who sells pet food. He bit somebody, she handed him to me and said, "Here, you take him." We didn't go back. Okay, I'll take him. He's cool. Mango, after I took him, about a month later, he started having seizures. We put him on the raw diet. No more seizures. There was a noticeable change. There was a behavioral change. I'm calling up my friend that's a vet who was his vet. I'm like, he looks different. He's acting different. Could we try and take him off the phenobarbital? And she's, yeah, let's step him off. He has only had, he was having them 2 times a month. He's had them since he's been on raw diet twice. Twice! You gonna tell me that it wasn't food related? You're damn right it was. If you're giving that high carb food, you could get like this glucose spike in your dog and then it drops. You get this like rebound effect going on some dogs. All of a sudden they start having seizures. Your dog shouldn't be eating a lot of carbs. That's not what the dog's about, this high carb diet. Like I said, I'll give oats, but it's just a very small amount. If you see one of my videos, it's even smaller than what I'm saying in that video. A smidgen. If she doesn't have some type of plant material in one meal, she might get it on the next meal. If she only had meat, bone, and fat for 2 days, would she be okay? Yes, she would. You might see that your dog gets a little constipated. give it a little fiber, but don't give it a lot. Stay away from the starchy carbs, potatoes, all that stuff. Look at your bag of dog food. Does it have stuff that you think would be good for a dog in it? That's why you don't give it to your dog. That's not good. That's not good. They don't need fruit. Your dog doesn't need any carbs. It needs 0 carbs. So why are the pet food companies putting all the carbs in pet food? It's to make money. It's all about making money. Not all pet foods, frozen pet foods that you'll find in a pet store are bad, and you'll see ones that are balanced. It'll be rare, and then they'll offer one that is not balanced. The balanced one you don't want, the unbalanced one you want. And by that, I mean it this way. The balanced one will have all types of plant material in it. It'll have sweet potatoes, pumpkin seeds, whatever they want to throw in there as filler. The unbalanced one, we're talking about raw. And there aren't a lot of companies that do this, but the unbalanced one will just be like ground up chicken. So they grind it up for you so that it's already ready to go. And then if you want to add in a little bit of fiber, like a green bean with your dog, you can, or a little bit of spinach, or like a dog this size, like two peas. 2 peas. That's it. Stop thinking that the dog is like you. It's not like you. Its dietary needs aren't like yours. It needs at least twice as much calcium, at least. It depends on the age of the dog, but at least twice as much calcium. Bone is part of your dog's diet. It's really nothing like you. They don't function like us. They don't ponder thought. Their diet should not be a cooked diet like the kibble, or if you're cooking your dog food or you're cooking the meat, what are you doing that for? If you take raw diet and you're cooking the raw diet, it has bone in it, you're going to make your dog sick. You don't want cooked bone. Cooked bone isn't good. That's why I don't recommend bone meal. If you're going to add in calcium to like steak or something, use calcium citrate without D3. Don't cook the raw diet. That's not what your dog shouldn't be eating that. We eat cooked food. Your dog does not. This can't be that difficult, but it seems to be for most people. I had a vet 3 weeks ago saying, "Yeah, I agree, but you can also cook the meat too." And I said, "No, you can't," and I banned him from my channel. That dude stalked me. He did. Several emails. He wanted me to read his emails. I wasn't going to read them. Dogs don't eat cooked meat. Lions in the zoo do not eat cooked meat. Wolves in the zoo do not eat cooked meat. Coyotes in the zoo do not eat cooked meat. A fox in the zoo doesn't eat cooked meat. But yet our domestic dog, we have veterinarians saying kibble is good, and then we have the FDA saying no, it's not. And it's okay to give them cooked meat. Why would you do that? It defeats the purpose. It's nonsense. The probiotics, this is another thing. Probiotics are not the same for a human. If you give the dog acidophilus, the acidophilus is destroyed in the gut. The dog can never utilize it. It's completely different. The probiotics for your dog are in the raw chicken. That's beneficial bacteria. That's bacteria that you can't handle. You can handle acidophilus. You might not be able to handle chicken that's a little stinky, but the dog can. Raw. Don't cook it. And if you cook the chicken and it's bone-in chicken, man, those bones are going to splinter. One more time, I'm going to say this because there's going to be some idiot that'll see this. Cooked chicken bones are bad for your dog. They can splinter and give your dog enteritis. raw chicken bones your dog can eat. If you don't think so, here's a dog. There's a video of this dog eating. This is Lola, by the way. There's a video of this dog eating raw chicken bones. This is a 3.5 pound dog. That's what they're designed to do. Why do you think that your domestic dog is that much different than the wolf? It's not. You're being lied to by the pet food companies. You're being lied to. It's plain and simple. They lied to you about the kibble-based diet. Then that wasn't going so good. So the marketing that they did was, we're going to sell them grain-free. Now the FDA is coming out saying, yeah, dogs are getting sick because of the grain-free diet. Yeah, no shit. That's something that people that are around dogs have known about for years. You see enough dogs and you see how they respond on this pet food, how their health is, there's something wrong. It's a pandemic. My point is this: if you love your dog, can't you find the time to give your dog a proper diet? It's not going to be that hard. Yeah, you might have to do something different. Change is difficult, and the older that we get, the harder that it is. But there's people that are, this has been drilled into society for years. So you could be a 20-year-old. I have 20-year-olds saying, no, you're crazy. I feed my dog, Taste of the Wild, or, and I'm like, oh, really? The FDA, that's on the list of the FDA's food that makes dogs sick. It's all the super premiums. It's not good for your dog to give them a lot of fruit. It's not good for your dog to give them a lot of, fruit, starch. They don't eat corn. Suck it up. Maybe you can find a raw that is unbalanced, like I said. Get the one without anything in it, and then you can add it if you want. Don't just every day, oh, I'm gonna stew up some sweet potatoes for my dog. He's going to be super healthy. That's not the way it works. That's not what they eat. Stop thinking that if it's good for you, it's going to be good for your dog. That's not true. Some stuff that humans can eat will kill dogs. By the way, salmon. Salmon poisoning disease is a parasite that lives in salmon and trout. Never give your dog fresh salmon or trout. That can, within a week, your dog can die. If your dog has eaten wild salmon or trout, I suggest you take him to the vet, see what the vet thinks, but you're going to want to watch that dog and make sure that you don't see any signs of salmon poisoning disease. It's real. It's absolutely real. So if you are going to use wild salmon, you're going to have to cook it. You have no other choice. You're going to have to cook it. Whoa! Whoa, good girl. Whoa, nice. Lola, here, heel. Good girl. You're doing great, sis. Come on. Heel. Up. Whoa. No. 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 Up. Whoa. It's good girl. Whoa. Whoa, here, heel. Pretty nice. Here, heel. Come on, baby. Up. You got it? Okay, whoa. You got this. Whoa, good girl. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. Here, heel. Come on, one more time. Give me another one. Come on, baby. Here. Here. Up. Whoa. No, whoa. Whoa. Good girl. Whoa. Let's do it one more time. Here. Come on, baby. Let's go. Come on, Loon. I called you Loon. Come on, Lola. Up. Okay, whoa. 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 Good girl, here. It's nice.
Mango's a dirtbag. He's trying to get me drunk, Mom. He's a dirtbag. I don't want anything to do with him. I like Ike.